welcome back to my channel. My name is Samuel Leeds and I am a property investor putting out videos on YouTube every single day. I've been doing that for years, but in this video right now, I'm going to be doing something very special, which is answering your property investment questions. So listen, if you've got any questions around property investment, around the different strategies, about what's holding you back, what's stopping you, then you can comment your question, your problem, your challenge below, and I will do my best to be your property doctor and fix your question, problem, challenge. So get commenting below. Also, before you do that, do me a massive favor and smash the like button. That'd be absolutely awesome. And then these types of videos can be spread and seen by more potential future property investors. My challenge and my mission is that as many people will be able to invest in property the smart way to ultimately give them a better quality of life, like property did for me and my wonderful family as well. So smash the like button, get commenting your questions below while I answer last week's questions and comments. And while I'm answering those, feel free to just be commenting along, asking questions, and I'll be answering your questions next week. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Otherwise, I might answer your question and you never even knew it happened because you didn't get a notification. So subscribe and turn on the notification bell. That'd be amazing. So Ibra says, I want to invest in property and start rent to rents, but I'll be completely honest. I don't have a passion for property and it's not something I love. Do you still recommend going all out in property? Thanks for the videos. You are an inspiration. Ibra, thank you so much. It's crazy that you watch my videos and see me as an inspiration, but you actually don't really like property that much when my entire channel is a property channel. But what would my advice to you be? No, I personally probably wouldn't recommend that you go all out in property if you don't love property, because there's going to be days where things aren't going well. You're out viewing houses, agents are rejecting you, the rain is pouring down, tenants are being a pain, and if you don't love creating homes for people and just the bricks and mortar and the wheeling, dealing, and if you don't just, I'm addicted to property and negotiating deals and providing beautiful, I love buildings, if you don't like it, I probably would say not to throw yourself all in it. However, there's two different types of what I do and what I teach. One is making money in property as a business, i.e. rent to rents and deal sourcing, and that's how you make money. And then the other is how you invest money into property. What you could do, Ibra, is I would say find something you love, make money doing something you love, and then potentially invest the profits into property, but where you don't have to get that involved because it is an incredible investment. So invest in it, maybe. Make money in it, rent to rents, I'd probably say not, unless you have a rekindle of love for property. But that's my opinion, that's my advice. I don't know what you guys think in the comments. What do you think of Ibra's question? Let me know in the chat box. Hope to see you do well there, dude, whether it's in property or something else. Okay, Nathan Newbury. Great Q&A again, Samuel, thank you. One from me for next week would be, when trying to speak to letting agents, doing the due diligence about demand and rental values rather than estate agents in my potential area, I find a lot of the agents are interlinked with each other. How do I initially ensure you get to the letting agent and not anybody that's free on the day, which could end up being the sales team? I felt like even the letting agents just palm you off onto the sales team. Thumbs down. Nathan, first thing I'll say is, the sales team should be able to tell you what you want to know. You want to know all the information of the product of the house. What's the rentability? What's the area? If they're selling that product all day, every day to prospective tenants, they should be able to know the demand, the good streets, the bad streets, the amount of... So I love speaking to the sales team. No problems with that at all. Maybe you're speaking to a junior member of staff that just isn't experienced, that just doesn't understand. In which case, I just ask them the questions. I just go, look, I'd love to know a bit about this. What are the best streets? How much rent would I get here? And if they don't know the answers, they're going to feel awkward and they're going to be like, I'm not sure. Let me find somebody who knows. I don't see what the problem is. Maybe you've had one or two bad experiences, maybe, but generally speaking, or ring up and pretend to be a tenant. Hey, I'm looking at renting a 3-bed house in Church Road in Birmingham. I just wondered roughly how much a 3-bed would be around that area. And they'll give you the information, but really you're thinking of buying a house in that street. But you'll get so just keep calling different people and don't worry about it. Just ask the questions. And it's not your job to determine whether they're going to be qualified enough to answer your questions. It's your job to just ask the questions and then they have to find a way of giving you the answers. Hope that helps. All right, Sam Hawkins. When refinancing on the new value of a property, do you need to leave in 25% for the new loan at the new value? If so, does this need to be factored into BRRs as you still be leaving money in? So Sam, you wouldn't be leaving money in because, I mean, yeah, you do need to leave money in. No bank will lend you, they used to when I started in property 12, 13 years ago, but right now in 2021, no bank is going to lend you 100% loan to value. So if you're buying a house for 100 grand, they're not going to go, here's 100 grand. They're going to want you to have some skin in the game, i.e. 25%. So they'll say, we'll give you 75%, but you need to put in 25%, which is why most people think they need to save up 25 grand or whatever it might be to buy a house. And what BRR is where you say, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy a really run-down house, a nasty house, for 50 grand. And I'm going to buy it with a loan because you can buy it with a loan. If you're buying it cash, you can buy it with a loan. If you're getting a mortgage, 75%, you can't get a loan for the 25%. They won't let you. They'll go, no, you need skin in the game. Whereas if you're buying a house for cash, there's no mortgage. So you could take out a bridging loan of 30 grand and then an angel investor, a joint venture partner, a personal loan, a freaking credit card. No one cares. 20 grand. Buy the house. Then spend 10 grand, 20 grand doing the house up. And now let's say that the new value is 100 grand. When you then get £75,000 mortgage on the new house, you're going to leave 25% in, but that is equity. So you're going to pull out 75 grand, but then you're going to pay yourself back because you've pushed. So you will leave none of your own money in and you'll pay off all the debt, the credit card company, whatever it is, you'll pay them all off and you'll replace that debt with the new debt, which is the mortgage. So I hope that makes sense. Takes a little bit of getting your head around, but when you get it, oh, it's amazing. Okay, well done, Sam. Hope to see you soon. All right, Mr. S. If I find a possible rent to rent, but it's within Article 4, should I consider getting planning permission? Is it worth it? And what's the process like? I wouldn't do that, Mr. S, because it's not your house. I mean, getting planning permission is a process. Doing that on a house, just because you're going to have it on a rent to rent and control it and make a bit of money each month, it's not worth it. If you're trying to rent to rent in an Article 4 area, find existing tired HMOs that have already got planning permission, but they're just a bit run down, or run down student lets, and then spend a few grand turning them into luxury professional lets, but you've already got planning permission in place. And you can find those on Gumtree, Open Rent, Spare Room, and. Burning desire! Houses are going up, and I feel we will all be in negative equity as there will be a crash soon. Why don't you ever tell people the risks? I've done many videos about the risks of property investment, about bad builders, bad tenants, like probably dozens and dozens of videos about risks. I've also done dozens and dozens of videos about what happens if there's a crash, about what happens if you buy a property and the market falls. And the answer is, it doesn't matter as long as you're making good cash flow from the property. If you buy a property and it drops in value, so if you're making good money each month from the rent, you buy it, it drops, so what? It's an asset. It's a goose. It's a golden goose that's every month laying you some nice golden eggs. We call those eggs rent. If the golden goose drops in value, you don't care. You're not getting paid by the goose. You're getting the eggs is the money. And if the value of the house drops, so what? Just hold it and keep getting the eggs. Keep having the golden goose eggs, and then wait for the value to go back up again. And then when it goes up, refinance, release more equity, and buy more houses. Liz Mass, could you please tell me what's the minimum amount I can have to buy a house? Generally speaking, as a first-time buyer in the UK, which is what you're talking about, the minimum amount to buy a house, so you're probably talking to buy a house minimum, like 60 grand in some really cheap parts of the country in the UK. generally speaking. If you get much less than that, you're going to start struggling to get a mortgage anyway. If it's 40 grand or less, you're not going to be able to get a mortgage. So 50, 60 grand is going to be as cheap as you're going to buy a nice little terraced house. You're going to need 25% deposit. So you're probably talking, after stamp duty and legals and whatnot, you're probably talking about 15, 20 grand minimum to buy a cheap buy-to-let. It's not going to give you much return. You might make a couple £100 a month, but that's about as little as you could do. If you're buying a house to live in, it depends on where you want to live. You can put less of a deposit down. Maybe you could put down just a 10 or 15% deposit if you're a first-time buyer, but then you've got to live there, which means that you're not going to be able to get any money each month because you're living there. But also, I mean, you can buy a house without using any of your money though. If you find a nice little house and you need 15, 20 grand, well, you could get a joint venture to put money in, or an angel investor, and you can say, look, the property is going to be given 20% return on investment. So if you buy a house for 50 grand and you rent it out for £500, after all costs and everything, that's probably going to be giving you about an 18, 20% return on investment. Well, you could borrow the deposit, 15 grand, off somebody, buy the house together, they put the money in, and then you can split the profits. They're still getting a 10% return on their money, but you're getting a little bit of money each month, and you own part of a house and you put no money in. So technically, you don't need any money to buy a house, but that obviously takes work. All right, James. Hi Samuel, what are the main factors in predicting how high a house will appreciate over a certain amount of years? Okay, so there's a couple of ways to do this, James. First way is looking at history. If we look back at history over the last 100 years or more, we can see that generally speaking, house prices tend to double in value every 10 years or so. So if you buy a house, generally speaking, if we look back over history, it's going to, in 10, 15 years, it could easily have doubled in value. Now, we don't know that for sure, and we can't say that that's going to happen, but you're saying how much it might go up. Another thing to do is to look at different areas. So if you are investing in, let's say, Liverpool, and you're buying a house in Liverpool for 100 grand, but then 5 years ago in Manchester, you could buy the like-for-like sort of house on the outskirts of Manchester for 100 grand, and now that's gone up to 130. And now Liverpool's beginning to trend. You could think, well, it might be similar. So you can look at what's going on in the street. You can look at ceiling prices. Ultimately, you don't know. Capital appreciation doesn't pay the bills. You cannot rely on a house going up in value for you to get paid. That's why I say if it drops, it doesn't matter. You have to see the increase as a bonus, and you have to rely on the monthly rent. Or you have to force the value up by doing a BRR or a flip, by buying a property that's got a problem, fixing the problem and forcing the value up. People that buy houses and solely just say, oh, I'm just gonna buy it and I'm gonna get paid when it goes up in value and I'm just gonna wait. It's not really very smart, in my opinion. All right, last question. Glenn Kirkham. Hey, Glenn, what's happening, brother? He says, who would win in an arm wrestle between Alistair and Russell? I really do not know. I would probably put my money on Russell because Russell is a little bit bigger and probably, maybe, I don't know, Alistair looks quite strong. I don't know. I'd probably say 50-50, but what I will say is I think I would win against both of them. Not put together, but individually. Maybe we should make it happen. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, smash the like button. Don't forget to put your comments and questions below in the comment box, and subscribe. You can subscribe right up here. You want to see more videos like this, you can check out a whole playlist right here. You might also like this one too. Watch the videos, immerse yourself, and go get some results in property. Thanks so much. I'll see you next time.